Welcome back to another episode of Pop Talks. Today we're going to talk about leadership. Stand by. Welcome back to another episode of Pop Talks.
Hey, hey, hey.
Alright. So today I want to talk about something near and dear to me. I've been in the army, as you guys know, been in the army for a while, and throughout my career, I got certified into leadership and professional performance coaching. So to start off, one of the things that I like to talk about in leadership is the start with the one, right? The internal maintenance, basically. So in order for you to be a successful and inspirational leader, you gotta do some self-reflection and assess yourself and see how you can be a good leader. And one way of doing that is trying to find out why.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this guy named Simon Sinek uh, who's a leadership professional. He's a leadership SME,
Yeah.
subject matter expert, and he deals a lot with military corporations like Microsoft,
Right.
Apple, all those stuff.
Big companies.
And he talks about leadership and how individuals or people in leadership position can enhance or improve their leadership capabilities.
Yeah.
And the first thing he talks about is from his book, Finding Your Why, and it's all about. He talks about the golden circle, and people don't know what the golden circle is. And we're gonna watch a TED Talk episode of how he explains his codification of the golden circle, basically.
Okay.
So without
Interesting.
further ado, this is Simon Sinek and the golden circle.
How do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet, they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, and the Wright brothers beat them to it? There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery, and this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. Sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right, because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal and want to be a part of what it is that you do?
So I'm gonna stop that video because he's gonna go through tangents on the why and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I teach this to people, to leaders, so I want them to understand that they need to know their why. Why do you wake up early in the morning? Why do you do what Simon says is why do you do the things that you do, right? So an exercise that I tell folks if they don't know what their why is, close their eyes and look for the end results of after you've done what you've been doing. Like let's
Right.
say you're in the army for 20 years, you're working in a corporation for 10 years or 15 years, whatever. What is the end state look like? So you close their eyes to look for, and some people they look at the beach, they're drinking margarita, or they have grandkids and all that stuff.
Right.
And I tell them, like, that's your why.
Mhm.
That is why you are doing what you're doing now. Now, in order for you to be a good leader, what's your definition of military definition of leadership?
By providing purpose, motivation, and direction.
Right?
Tama.
Providing purpose, motivation, and direction, right?
Mhm.
Motivation. How do you motivate people? You have to influence them. But the only way you can influence an entity, right, an individual,
Right.
right, without putting a gun in his head,
Right.
is to make him believe in what you say.
Mhm.
Make him trust in what you say. Meaning that you have to have the same values and you have to have the same why.
Right.
For the military, it's easy. We want to serve, we want to complete our term, and we want to take care of families. Right? Everybody is pretty much the same. So it's easy for us to give orders or influence soldiers to do the right thing. Right?
Right.
But leaders don't tend. Most leaders, not all, don't tend to look into themselves. Right? They automatically go to the what. Like, I need to get this done. Hey soldier, get this
Yeah.
done now, right? But they don't look at the why we're doing. That's why there's a lot of soldiers ask, why am I doing this,
Right.
right? If you are an influential leader, you will communicate just like what Simon said.
Simon said.
Simon said yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like the golden circle, right? You cannot, the way I approach it with my soldiers, I bring them all together and I'll tell them, hey guys, here we go. We have a mission. This is the purpose of the mission. We have to do this in order to complete this mission. We need to get this done. Hey sergeant, you take care of this, blah blah, and they get motivated, like, because
Right.
they know the purpose. They have
Mhm.
they have a reason to do what they're needing to do.
Right.
They will work, until daylight's gone, until freaking, it's midnight,
Right.
just to accomplish the mission because
Yeah.
they know the importance of the mission.
Right.
So that's some of the things that I do. So I want to hear, because you guys are former leaders, and like, what are the things that you guys do
Well,
to influence your
I
soldiers?
think my first opinion on this, I think it's not not having a reason and purpose. I think what I got out of that is how you deliver it.
Yes.
I think it's the delivery, right? Because you can do both ways. It might work.
Might
You know what I
work.
mean? But he's saying that if you do it the opposite, it works better. And I think because in the army we have the 5 Ws, right?
Right.
And we have the 5 Ws for a reason.
Mhm.
Kind of captures what he just talked about, right?
Yes.
But I think what he's saying is you gotta capture the emotion first. You know what I mean?
Yes.
From in and out, basically. You know what I mean?
Communicate from in and out.
Right. Because when you're saying what first, I think I've heard this many times before. If you're doing a speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
They actually forget your 30-minute speech. Most of the
right.
time, they capture your first 2 minutes.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So you had to deliver and capture their emotion first, the first 2 minutes, basically, as I call it, before you get to the meat and potato, because
Right,
they're gonna
right.
get lost in the middle. And I think what he's trying to say is, and what I get out of this, which I agree, because if you're trying to blah 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 everything, and then now you're and then they get lost. By the time you get to the why, which is very important, they're already lost interest.
Lost interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You lose them.
And I think, and that's what I did with soldiers. When you asked me about soldiers, growing up as from soldiers, first I learned how to be follower. I'm sure you guys heard that before, right?
Yeah.
I understand how to follow and how to be a follower, and I knew and understood the reason why some leaders did not work out, and it's because they didn't have that connection of expressing the why,
Yes.
and
Yes.
which I developed as a leader,
Yes.
and communicate more on. I don't want to make it sound like, man, that sounds sweet, because
Yeah.
sometimes when when you communicate with feelings, it some people see that in the wrong way. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, but
You know what I mean, right? Like,
but feelings, yes, but it's more of
basically grabbing their emotion in order for them to execute what you want them to do. That makes sense.
something. Yeah. So I agree. I think emotion is in there, but it's
Right.
more of
Yeah.
Patton, right? So if you think about Patton, what's the first thing you think about?
Right.
He's truly American. He's all about the American way. Blah blah.
Yeah.
That's the why.
Yeah.
Patton is all about the American way.
Yeah.
Freedom, all that stuff. Right?
Yeah. Which
So-
catches your emotion.
Catch your
Because
emotion.
if you're a patriot,
Yes.
if you're patriotic,
So
you're
you-
like, damn, let's go fight. Fuck
there you
everything
go.
else you just said.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because you automatically
Right.
capture the emotion and the
Yeah.
why off the bat. Then I don't even want to hear what that what and how is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Tell me what direction,
Yeah.
sir.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant by
Yes.
how I became a good follower and developed the method to where, fuck everything you just said, let's go.
Yes.
Because you just find that formula on how to capture that.
you found the belief.
That's right.
The belief.
The mutual understanding
Yes.
of me and the soldiers,
Right.
on executing the what and how.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
How about yourself?
Well, so I listened to him before, but
Is he Canadian? I'm sorry.
I don't know
No,
what he
he's
is.
he's
sounded
he's from
Canadian.
New York, but
Okay.
he has roots from Britain.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was
But-
Canadian.
Like what you were saying, the majority of the soldiers, when we used to lead in the military, and now I kind of find myself too with
Mhm.
working in a nonprofit, right?
Right.
Working in the civilian sector. You have two types of leadership. One is straight transactional,
Right.
and one's really transformational.
Right.
And the way when I heard this golden circle,
Right.
I immediately grasped that one as a transformational leadership. All right.
Yeah.
So with transactional, it's for civilians out there when they do work. They clock in and out 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I have to do this because if I don't do this,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Right.
So now I gauge it by efforts. Yes, they will accomplish what they need to accomplish. Task complete. Is it complete to the T?
Yeah.
Is there any rework that needs to be done?
Right.
Right? The heart is not all there. It's
Mhm.
not 100% work.
Right.
Completed,
Yeah.
but not 100% work.
Right.
So I see that as a transactional type of leadership from A and B.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? And sometimes you as a leader need to understand that my leadership will be different from you
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
different from you.
It's whatever works,
Different
right?
from you. It's different from person to person.
Right.
And it's really hard to blanket it out.
Yeah.
But if you are another type of leader, like the
Yeah.
transformational one, where you actually
Mm-hmm.
are not threatening somebody because if you don't
Yeah.
do this,
Yeah.
you're going to get in trouble.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you need to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not inspirational.
No. Yeah.
It doesn't feel good for the person receiving that,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? So you got to like really attach and find ways to connect
Right.
with that individual.
Yeah.
All right, so going back to the transformational skills and the golden circle, whether that's the why that you're actually explaining, or the whatever motivates you
Mm-hmm.
to actually do the task
Yeah.
at 100% of your effort
Yeah.
until it's complete.
Yeah.
And that's how I grasp it.
Yeah.
And you both of you are entirely correct. There's really no right or wrong answer. But you categorize it transformational and transactional. Exactly. There are leaders like that.
Yeah.
There are no leaders that go to a leadership class, get a certificate, and automatically become a leader.
Expert.
Right? You can't. You can't. It takes experience,
Yeah.
lifelong experiences to go to get where we at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
To be honest, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But those who are very proactive and want watch kind of like this kind of forum and trying to learn and transform themselves to be a better leader,
Yeah.
right? Will get there faster than we did because we never had people talk to us like, hey, how do you influence people? How do you influence soldiers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about that part.
Right,
No.
because
You know?
it's soft and cushy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, don't get me wrong. When I first been stripes,
Yeah.
yes, I was just hard charging,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
your face,
Yeah. Yeah.
do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did it get done? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was I able to report back mission complete?
Yeah.
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
Did I lose them?
Yeah.
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of lessons that
Yeah.
I've learned how to approach
Right.
people.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And this is just one part of it. Leadership is not just one slogan and it fixes everything.
Right.
There's a lot of things that we can talk about. I just wanted to focus on the inner self first
Yeah.
because you can't be a leader if you don't look at yourself first. Right?
It's true.
Finding out why do you do what you do. Like why do I want to do this podcast? I want to educate people to make a better life, right?
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
able to make a better world, Plus also get some money
Yeah.
too. But
That's the result.
That's the result.
Yeah, that's it.
But the real reason is that's why we enjoy this is because
Yeah.
we grew up in the military, taking care of others except for ourselves, and
Yeah.
we want to take care of others
Yeah. By
through
sharing.
this vehicle
Yeah.
to share knowledge, to share our
Yeah.
experiences,
Opinions. Yeah.
so that those younger
Yeah.
audience that we have that are really into leadership or about to join the army or about to get into a corporation in a managerial supervisory position and are lost on how they're going to become a leader,
Yeah.
or at least start to be that one person, at least they have a resource to kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah.
deepen and say like, okay,
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. I'll probably put that in my kit bag or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But that's just one of a series, ladies and gentlemen. So if you guys have any comments or questions, or you want to have a discussion, let us know in the comments below. But like I said, we have more of these coming up, and just look forward to the future streaming. So you guys have any last words?
No. Lead from the front.
Lead from the front. Leadership by example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Top Talks, and see you in the next episode. Comment,
Click here.
like the
Hit
button, notify.
Hit that.
Hit that.